All good to go? All right, thank you. We'll call the Washington Basin Regional Parks Commission meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, July 26th. I think our last meeting was cold and raining, so welcome to summer. Brandon, would you do the roll call, please?
Kevin Joel.
Here.
Nicholas Martin Kearney informed me he would not be present. Timothy Dake.
Present.
Maxwell Di Natale, he informed me he would not be present. Lisa Rhodey, please unmute.
Present.
Thank you, Lisa. Miles, go ahead and please unmute.
Present.
Go ahead, Miles.
Present. Thank you.
Yep. Neil Jones.
Present.
Michelangelo Aranda is not here at the moment, and Mark Dubin.
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Brandon, and I would like to just take this opportunity to welcome Neil Jones and Mark Newman to the Parks Commission.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also for the record to note that Commissioner Garcia is present at our meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, Commissioner Jones will be leaving at 2:30.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I have one announcement. There were some changes in open meeting law, so we just have to put on the record for any audience members attending via Zoom. You can also join via telephone by dialing 1-346-248-7799 and entering the meeting ID 898-2690-0042, and then by pressing pound. And members of the audience who wish to provide public comment can do so via Zoom by raising their hand when public comment is called for.
One of our new commissioners, Michelangelo Aranda, is on Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and unmute him. Go ahead, Michelangelo, for roll call. Could you please?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Brandon, we're not seeing the Zoom screen up there. Is it not tied in?
You won't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because usually we will see them, the other commissioners up there.
Oh, yes. It's because we're on, it's not going through Chambers.
Oh, okay.
Chambers doesn't have them.
Gotcha.
I can switch it over though, so just give me a moment.
Okay. Oh, no worries. Commissioner Dake, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
It's America.
and the republic for which stands
Which
one
stands
nation under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment today? And this is general public comment not on any specific agenda item.
I do have Assistant County Manager Dave Slaughter.
Good afternoon. For the record, Assistant County Manager Dave Solero and Director of the Community Services Department. Chairman Joel, you kind of beat me to this. Due to the timing of the agenda, we didn't have an item to formally recognize our new commissioners, so I wanted to take the opportunity to welcome back Commissioner Dake, and also welcome our new commissioners, Commissioner Aranda, Commissioner Jones, and Commissioner Newman. So thank you very much for your time and service to the Park Commission. Look forward to at least 4 great years from many of you, and a couple from at least one of you, and I can't remember which it is. So thank you very much for being here, and welcome.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Do we have any other public comment?
Deputy District Attorney Lindsay Liddell, for the record. I recommend perhaps taking a recess of this meeting while Eric Crump figures out the oath. It's my understanding that none of the new commissioners have yet taken their oath to fulfill their appointment to the Parks Commission. And Washoe County Code, Chapter 95, subsection 020, subsection, oh, I just lost it. 4, subsection 4, says that the Parks Commissioners qualify by taking the oath of their office.
So Eric can do this? Since he just walked in?
Thank you. For the record, Eric Crump with Washoe County Community Services. So the clerk's office is actually preparing the oaths right now.
Okay.
And they will be coming in as soon as those are done. So it should be, I don't know how long, but it won't be very long. We can potentially go forward with non-business items.
Do
or
we have a
non-action items?
quorum?
That's correct. Actually, that's a great suggestion. Rather than taking a recess, we could proceed with doing non-action items that or reports and things like that. So we can take an item out of order if you'd prefer to do that.
Or my other question is if we, do we still have a quorum without the new commissioners?
No.
We do not. Okay.
That's, yeah. Commissioner Newman, you had a question?
Mark Newman for the record. I believe I took an oath for office back in January for the Sun Valley GID. I was up here along with Commissioner Garcia and everybody else. Is that oath the same oath?
It should be the same or substantially similar, just for this office rather than for your GID office.
Okay.
So with that, I guess without a quorum, we can't really proceed with the meeting. So with that, I would recommend just taking a recess for a couple minutes.
Okay. Yeah, the non-action items?
Well, because there's no quorum, so technically it's like not a meeting, so sorry, guys.
Can we do the picture
to
with,
be the bearer
can we do
of
the
bad
picture with
news.
Stephanie?
I mean, if you want to get the picture done now, you could.
Okay, so we're gonna take a brief recess, and during that recess, we will take our group picture with Commissioner Chen, who recently left the board.
And repeat after me.
Recording in progress.
I state your name.
I, Michelangelo Aranda,
Do solemnly swear. That
do
I will
solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
I will support, defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada
and the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
whether domestic or foreign,
whether domestic or foreign,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
allegiance and loyalty to the same,
allegiance and loyalty to the same,
any ordinance, resolution, or law
any ordinance, resolution, or law
of any state notwithstanding, and that I will well and faithfully perform all the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Get something for us to sign now?
I do.
Okay. I mean, yeah, he's already been sworn in, so it should be, yeah.
Okay, so are we good to reconvene?
Once we have the
Or,
signatures?
signatures?
Yes.
Okay.
Recording stopped.
So we'll still,
And continue with public comment? We're all
Recording in progress.
good. All right, so continuing with public comment, we have one more public commenter.
yes, we have one more in chambers, Cindy Shart.
Cindy, come on up.
Cindy, you have 3 minutes. Please state your first and last name for the record. Thank you.
My name is Cindy Shart, and I live in Pleasant Valley, Reno, Nevada 89521. I'm here to talk about the indoor pool on the South Valleys Regional Park Master Plan map. It's a given funding is a big issue here. Page 19 in your report, and that would be the South Valleys Master Plan report, states that this park will receive public funding through its residential construction tax base. As new developments within the county District 1C are built out, additional funds will become available for improvements within the park, and the county should also seek funding. With all the explosion in South Reno, where's all the tax money going? What I need is to discover from all of you what it's going to take to effect a change in the distribution of tax funds so that we can get these pools built out. I have over 600 signatures right here that are in support of an indoor pool and more gyms in the South Valleys Regional Park. We don't know how to approach a system of government that decides what is most important in our community. So we look to you to build these facilities with our taxes. We really cannot understand why a community center has not been built along with the population explosion in South Reno. So some of us are willing to receive information as to what action we could take in order to persuade our representatives to make family living a priority. And is this even what we need to focus on? Right now, I'm just assuming that Parks and Recreation hasn't been given the money to get these projects built out. In the meantime, I'm looking for some security that what I see on page 37 of the master plan is accurate information today. It shows that in Area 1, there's a building labeled Indoor Recreation, Olympic Swim and Community Facility. Since the dates on this report are in 2015, anything could have happened since then. And if this map is accurate, I'd like the assurance that these plans won't disappear in the future, that this land is designated for a pool and more gyms, and it's going to stay that way. So once again, we want to work with you to solve this problem. Middle-class residents want to see that our taxes are used for these type of projects. So I'm here because we want help to understand the process so that we can help with a solution.
Thank you so much. We can't really discuss it because it's not an agendized item, but I will suggest if you have the time to, Colleen, would you raise your hand over there? Colleen provided us some information about that, I think it was a couple meetings ago, and some grant applications that they've done attempting to get funding for that. So she might be able to answer some of your questions, and it is slow, but there is progress. Approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for July 26, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. All those in favor, or I'm sorry, is there any public comment? I saw you reaching for the mic switch. Is there any public comment on approving the agenda?
No public comment in chambers or on Zoom.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Approval of the draft minutes from the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting of May 24th. Do I have a motion to approve the draft minutes?
Commissioner Dake, I motion to approve the minutes from May 24th Park Commission meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Dake. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Is there any public comment on approving the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify, do we?
Yeah, I was going to say there's no public comment in chambers or on Zoom.
Oh, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, during our recess, we took our pictures with former Commissioner Stephanie Chen. Number 7, acknowledgement and recognition of park operations staff for their outstanding service and contributions to Washoe County.
Yes, thank you. For the record, Eric Rump with Washoe County's Community Services Department. So it is truly my pleasure today to recognize Colleen Wallace-Barnum for 25 years of service to Washoe County. So Colleen started with the county as a seasonal employee, I believe at Davis Creek, is that right? Okay, Bartley Ranch. But she has obviously worked in many different parks during her career. If you've ever had the opportunity to work with her, you know that she is a fierce advocate for parks in this community. And I can also tell you firsthand, she's an avid user of our trails and open space in our parks throughout the community. So if you ever get a chance to talk with her, I encourage you to ask about some of the experiences she's had within parks. We've shared a lot of stories over the years, and I can tell you that truth is far more interesting than fiction. There's some interesting stuff that's happened in parks. But Colleen, thank you for your service and continued dedication to Washoe County with 25 years of service.
Well, thank you, Eric, and thank you, Colleen. Congratulations. Number 8, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation to Board of County Commissioners to approve the following easement deeds between Washoe County and Epic Wireless, a temporary construction easement and a permanent non-exclusive access and public utility easement on Washoe County's Galena Terrace open space.
You'll need to turn that on, Faye-Marie. No, the clicker. Is it working? Okay, go ahead, now try it. There you go. Yes? It was working earlier.
afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jamie Picard, Park Planner for Washoe County. The item before you today is a presentation. Thank you. I think I might have turned that off. I don't think I see it. Testing. There we go. Perfect. We'll start that again. Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Faye Marie Picard, Park Planner for Washoe County. The item before you today is a presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners for an Epic Wireless open space parkland easement request. This request comes to you from Epic Wireless with a proposed 58-foot cell tower on the Tumwa parcel that is surrounded by the Galena Terrace Park open space. The Galena Terrace Park open space itself consists of 385,000 acres. It's south of Mount Rose Highway and located north of the Interstate 580 and is located in the Galena Terrace 9 subdivision. If you look at the parcel itself, you can see in the green perimeter that is the Galena Terrace parcel that we're describing, which is APN 144-01022. The proposed future site for the cell tower is on a 2.2 acre site that is surrounded by the Galena Terrace Park open space and currently holds a water tower that is maintained by Truckee Meadows Water Authority. For the future site of the cell tower, it'd be in the northwest corner of the Tumwa parcel. The request for this came back in August of 2021 as a special use permit to the CSD department. It was then put on hold because they needed to have proof of accessibility to the site prior to moving forward for their permitting review and anything that would go forward to Board of County Commissioners for approval if it was approved. So today, the reason why we're having this discussion is for the accessibility to the site for the easement. So the request is twofold. Brandon, can you go to the next slide, please?
I'll just go, yeah.
Thank you. So the request is twofold. One is for a temporary construction easement in order to access the 2.2 acre Tumwa site. If you look at the diagram to your right, it's that yellow square in the bottom corner with the round symbol on it for the water tank itself, as well as a permanent utility and access easement. The intention behind this request is to follow the path of the green diagram that you see. That would be a 15-foot access easement and utility easement as well. The intention would be to also include a 6-foot utility easement that is shown in red, and that is to have a shorter path to the cell tower that would be located on the northwest portion of the parcel itself. Staff is recommending that the utility easement follow the road alignment in its entirety to the Tumwa parcel and not veer outside of that footprint. One, so it's following the existing gravel road that Tumwa uses in order to access their water tank, and that way it's going to be replicated as well by Epic Wireless to continue to use the existing gravel road for accessibility and its utilities. Epic Wireless staff has been aware of this conversation and knows that this is going to be a request if this decides to move forward to BCC. Next slide, please, Brandon. Thank you. So for impacts and mitigation, using the existing gravel road itself minimizes impacts on the parkland policy, or the parkland easement itself. There will be some potential impacts to native vegetation, but as part of the requirement for the planning and permit for the special use permit, there will be revegetation requirements and a revegetation plan that will be asked to be submitted. The appraised value of the easement itself is $4,880. So that will be given to Washoe County for its parkland account. And again, just to reiterate, the intention is to have the easement itself follow the existing gravel road in its entirety to the Tumwa parcel where the future cell tower will be proposed to be if it's approved. Given that information, it's very minimal to what will be the impacts to this open space parcel itself. But if the veering of that 6-foot utility easement is approved, that will have some impacts and disturbance to the site itself. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I also have Mark Lobaugh with me, who is with Epic Wireless as a representative. Thank you.
Just to make sure I'm understanding this on this map on the request, the red highlighted line that kind of looks like an L.
Correct.
That says, drainage something and utility easement. It's really fine print. So that is not being, that's proposed, but not being recommended by staff. Is that, am I understanding you correctly?
Correct. So what's being shown right now, I'll use the
Yes,
laser
that map
pointer.
right there.
What's that?
That map right there. So the red is not, is proposed, but not being recommended.
Correct. So what would be asked for is from that Tumwa parcel that comes off of Great Falls Loop, the access and utility easement would continue down on this green section, and then the accessibility would continue down on this green towards the Tumwa parcel, but the utility easement is going to take a shorter path through the red. So what we're asking for is both the access and the utility easement continues on through this green parcel down towards that loop, so it follows the existing alignment of the gravel road and does not include this red veering. So that red section that you're seeing right here is the proposed 6-foot utility easement itself. So it'd be trying to do a more direct route to the Tumwa parcel where the actual cell tower would be, when that's not what staff is recommending. We'd like to follow the green path in its entirety.
So the red path is out.
That's correct. The red path is out.
That's what we're asking for.
Okay, I understand. That's, and I'm just curious, is that roughly the path of the Tumwa water main that comes off that tank? Because I don't think it follows the road from my
I do
time
have the
exploring up
plans
in there.
available we did bring up as well that shows the other easements that are on the property as well, if you'd like to take a look at
Okay.
that. But the Tumwa water parcel and the pipe should be following the same alignment as the trail,
That's the road.
as the road, as the
Okay.
gravel road.
Okay. And will they be doing any drainage improvements to that road with
Not
their
that's been
construction?
proposed in this currently. Again, this is just the easement itself. So I would have to rely on Mark for information on that if they have any improvements they want to do to the road during construction.
Okay, because I mean, it's not a Washoe County road, it's a Tumwa road, but it is used by people to recreate, and it's in need of some drainage improvements for the sustainability of that road.
I believe that could be part of what is required out of the
Okay.
BCC approval.
Okay. Any
Commissioner
comments
Dake.
from commissioners?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Dake. With the premise that this is approved, what's the period of construction on this? How long will these neighborhoods and this trail be impacted by construction activities?
I think currently it would depend on the permitting and the review of our planning staff, but I could ask Mr. Lobaugh himself with Epic Wireless for what the proposed is. In the application itself, I believe it showed 3 to 4 months is the anticipated construction.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Lobaugh. I am employed by Epic Wireless, and we represent AT&T. One thing of clarification is AT&T would be the party actually entering into the agreement. So I'm here representing AT&T as a representative. The estimated construction time would be 3 to 4 months once we actually break ground and building permits issued.
Thank you.
And I would reiterate the fact that we discussed the fact that the sort of red L portion, we're happy to get rid of that. You know, we were thinking that it would it was essentially a shortcut for the utilities. It would cut off having to underground a large portion, but that's okay. We'll stick with the existing easement and keep it simple.
Is there any option to do well, I mean, obviously not a joint trench, but like on top of the Tumwa water main, or would they rather you stay away from their easement?
We're fine with the existing plan as is.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. If you have any other questions, I'll be standing by.
Any comments or questions from other commissioners, or online or in person?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the visual impacts of this. Currently, if you're down on the football field or down in that neighborhood, you really don't see the tank. It's kind of in a cutout notch. And what's this going to look like? I mean, the height of the tower is stated 56 feet or something like that, just under 60 feet. Is this going to be a major wart up there on the hillside, or is it going to be somewhat camouflaged? I've got a drawing here. It looks like a big ugly cell tower. Is there going to be any effort to camouflage this?
I would point out that, and I'm happy to address that. Planning Commission will be addressing issues of, what this thing's going to look like, how tall, stealthing mechanisms, that sort of thing. You folks have all seen cell towers. It's a utility pole. It serves a function to hang equipment on. I've been doing this for almost close to 20 years now. We found that water tank sites are ideal locations to locate cell towers. Jurisdictions frequently push us towards these, in fact. It's just a desired area to build a cell tower because it kind of gives you an industrialized parcel that's already been built upon to put your facilities, and you're not in a residential neighborhood. So with that, you are going to see it. It's a 55-foot tall structure. You are going to see it. The tank itself, I can't remember how tall that tank is, but I think it's about 35 feet tall. So it is going to extend above that. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Okay, thank you.
Mark Newman for the record. I know on the north side of Mount Rose Highway up by the fire department, they have a cell tower up there, and they had put that pine tree, made it look like a pine tree. Is it going to be similar to that, or is it going to be this big thing sticking up?
It's currently not designed as a stealth tree. It's kind of a wide open area out there. Typically we do a tree when it kind of can be incorporated amongst a backdrop of other trees. Sort of makes sense. In this case, it's currently designed as a typical monopole. That's an entirely different coverage objective. This will serve a whole different coverage objective. It'll serve a very vital coverage objective in this area. A lot of new growth out there, and we think it'll be a vast improvement for communications out there for both health and safety issues, businesses, and residential users.
And painted to match the tank or similar earth tone?
Typically, we'll be looking for comments from planning staff, but typically we would paint them brown or some other color that would, non-reflective materials is kind of the norm. You don't want it to stand out, obviously.
Yeah.
I do have a comment from one of the commissioners on Zoom.
Go ahead.
Michael Angelo, go ahead and unmute and state your first and last name for the record, please.
Yeah, Michael Angelo Aranda for the record. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. I know that we asked the question, but I just wanted to clarify. Is there going to be plans for improvement? Is it going to remain a gravel road, or is there going to be plans to pave a road? I know there's revegetation, but just what does that look like? And you may or may not be able to answer the second question, but responsibility for road maintenance, if it's not going to be a county road, who's going to maintain it?
So the current plan is to it remain as a gravel, as is. I guess we could entertain comments or suggestions, if you will, for improvements. It's intended to, serve access and utility to and from the tank site to the public right of way. So whatever we can do to facilitate that, make this functional, I can certainly entertain it. That isn't currently, I don't believe there's anything in the easement language that would necessitate improvements. But
I do have another question from another commissioner on Zoom.
Go ahead.
Okay. Lisa, go ahead and unmute and state your first and last name for the record, please.
This is Commissioner Lisa Rhodey. My question is this: are the only fees being paid the $4,800 and change for the easement?
For the record, Faye Picard, Park Planner, the $4,880 is just for the appraisal of the easement itself in order to get to the tank. So that does not include other expenses that would be the requirement of Epic Wireless to pay for, such as revegetation, any permitting they have for the cell tower itself, or any associated fees as well. It would not be covered by Washoe County.
So Washoe County is charging nothing to AT&T to use our public lands for their tower?
Commissioner Road, we just have the easement in front of us as representatives of the open space parcel.
I see.
So the tower is undergoing at least a special use permit, if not other reviews. It sounds like it's going to Planning Commission as well, going to the Board of County Commissioners. So we don't really have a say in I mean, I know we all share the concerns of like how it looks and, you know, the aesthetics of it, but that's really like a planning commission purview. And we're just
Well,
discussing.
we have a lot of budget limitations, so, you know, fees that we could collect for the parks would be wonderful.
Right. I'm going to let Eric handle this because I think he probably knows more than I do. But the only thing that we're collecting is the easement that crosses Washoe County open space. And by we, I mean the Washoe County parks.
Yeah. Thank you. For the record, Eric Crump with Washoe County's Community Services Department. I can address a couple of comments and questions that came up. I'll start with the road, and then we'll talk about cell towers and fees and approval of such. So that road is not a Washoe County maintained road. If my memory serves me correctly, it's actually considered a presumed public access road, which basically says that the public can use it, but there's no maintenance responsibility. If someone like Tumwa or AT&T needs to access their property, it's on them to figure out how to get there. So if they need to make improvements to the road to do that, that's on them. It's not a Washoe County responsibility. And it's actually not part of our trail system. It just goes through an open space system. With regards to the cell tower, it's important to note that the cell tower itself is actually going on a Tumwa parcel, not a county parcel. So what we have in front of here and what's been requested from Epic Wireless is basically an access easement and a public utility easement for some undergrounding following that existing road to minimize disturbance. Historically, we've granted easements for things like this based on appraised value, and there was an appraisal done by a certified appraisal, and that's where the $4,880. I will tell you that we have had other easements that have come forward where the Park Commission felt like additional mitigation needed to occur that is well within the realm of this Park Commission. If you felt like the impacts of granting this easement aren't covered by that appraised value, you certainly can make that recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, and we can bring you some history. But right now, staff is recommending, based on very little impact to the site and the fact that it's an existing gravel road, appraised value seems to be a fair deal. So.
Thank you, Mr. Crump.
Yeah, and I would also add, in terms of the permitting for the pole itself, that is an entire another body. There are fees associated with that permitting, and it goes through our planning development and ultimately gets heard by the Planning Commission. And they collect the fees for those permits.
The square foot impacted here it's listed as approximately 48,865. Is that and that's the utility easement. Is that assuming it follows the road, or is that the red line shown on the diagram?
No, that's assuming it follows the road.
Okay,
so if they followed the red line, it would be slightly smaller than that.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
Can I make a motion?
Sure. We have a possible motion.
No other comments?
Public comment? Or any commissioner comment?
This is Commissioner Dake. I move to recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve the following easement deeds between Washoe County, the grantor, and Epic Wireless, the grantee. A temporary construction easement and a permanent non-exclusive access and public utility easement totaling approximately 48,865 square feet on Washoe County's Galena Terrace open space, located APN 144-010-22 for the appraised value of $44,880 for the implementation of the Mount Rose Wedge cell tower on an adjacent parcel owned by Truckee Meadows Water Authority. And their APN is 144-211-23, and that doesn't look like the right APN for the water tower parcel.
Do we happen to have that information?
I'm going to call that one the Washoe County parcel. On the county map I pulled up is 144-010-23. not 211-23. Just to clarify that.
I'd like to break in here just a moment. Lisa Rhodey again. We don't even want to consider asking for a larger easement fee. We just want to rubber stamp it.
Historically, have we
Director-
gone beyond appraised value?
Why not? It's an opportunity to get more money for the parks.
For the record, Eric Crump with Washoe County's Community Services Department. I can remember just a few off the top of my head. I would have to do some research, but we have granted easements where, in staff's recommendation, there's been more significant impacts to the parks or open space, and so additional mitigation in the terms of additional funds have been recommended and granted. One of them was a Tumwa pipeline that went kind of through Rancho San Rafael, had some pretty significant impacts. Another one, I believe, was through Betsy Collin Donnelly. So in addition to appraised value of those easements, there was some additional mitigation funds. And again, that was based on some pretty significant impacts to those parks specifically, and our ability to do anything on those parks with utilities underground and that type of thing. So it has been done. It's within your all ability to recommend that if you direct staff to go back and look at that. But based on the impacts to this particular area, how it's currently being used, how it's probably going to be used in the future as just open space, staff's recommendation as of today, the appraised value is sufficient.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. And Commissioner Road, this is Commissioner Joel. Just at least my opinion. I mean, that's not a bad idea, but as Eric Crump said, like the other times when we charged more than the appraised value, there were more impacts to the recreational infrastructure, and we just don't have that on this parcel. I mean, is it used by people in that neighborhood to hike up towards the G? Yeah, it is. People do recreate on that road, but not in any official Washoe County capacity. And so at least in my mind, that to keep it fair to all of the applicants, that we shouldn't take out our budget problems on this particular applicant. There isn't the sensitive areas or high use recreational areas as in the other examples that Eric mentioned.
Chairman Joel, if I could comment
Please.
further. This is Commissioner Date. Yeah, don't really feel like this is a rubber stamp. I've been to the property. I've walked the road. Trenching utility line up the existing road and around will have almost insignificant impact. The biggest impact in my mind from a construction background is some pretty heavy travel up and down a steep and just basically a gravel trail. It does have drainage, and I'm sure that they'll work that out between the other user, Truckee Meadow Water. But again, trenching this utility in and putting the tower up, the tower's not on Washoe County property, Washoe County Parks open space property. Again, looking at the impact it will have along the road is minimal with the improvement in cell service and the access to better cell coverage to the community. Myself included, I live up in the general area and really have poor cell service, so I'm hoping this will help. I think this is a benefit to the community. I don't think pushing this this proposal to get more money out of the deal is really in the best interest of the overall of the community. Thanks.
And this is Deputy District Attorney Lindsay Liddell. For the record, just for the commissioner's information, when looking at increasing a fee or requiring other mitigation, the situations that Eric Crump described are based on the specific easement and the impacts that that specific easement will have. And that's certainly appropriate and within this commission's right to ask for more than what's in the policy or what staff recommends. but it has to be directly tied to the nature of the specific easement before the commission. So I would not recommend just increasing a fee because of a general budget deficit, only increasing or changing the recommendation based on specific impacts that this easement will have to parks.
Yeah, it seems to me that kind of fee increase is the kind of thing that government gets sued over.
I have a comment from Commissioner Gertler. Commissioner Gertler, please unmute and go ahead and state your first and last name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Gertler for the record. So just to clarify what was just said by council, it sounds like for those other easements, the additional fees were specific mitigation for direct impacts caused to the park. Like, for example, at Rancho San Rafael, maybe it was to pay for redoing the grass that was ripped up by the trenching for the water line. And it doesn't quite seem like we have that in this situation. But I haven't been to the site, so for those commissioners that have been there, can you comment on the drainage that's currently there? And maybe this is an opportunity as they're doing road work to get their equipment up to construct the cell tower to put in some water bars or rolling dips or something to, to help reduce erosion at the site.
Thank you, Commissioner Gertler. Commissioner Dake, it sounds like you may have been up there more recently. I was up there before last winter. How did it look recently?
There's no, we've had a pretty severe spring, and there's no significant signs of severe erosion there. The road is not just a trail carved up there, but it is a road that has been put in with some drainage thought and a gravel topping, crushed gravel topping. And as I said, it survived the winter with no significant damage to it. So it's either been repaired or it's drains well. Depending on how this is trenched and what these two parties, AT&T and Truckee Meadow Water, agree on how they're going to work out maintenance agreement on this road, it's typical that after a construction activity is done, the party doing the construction will come back in or has an obligation to come back in and keep the road dressed up, fix it back up to where it was before. I'm going to assume that whether it's written or a tacit agreement, once this thing goes into a construction phase, that's kind of what we're talking about. Nobody wants to let somebody else come in on their property and tear up the road and walk away and not have some responsibility there. So the road drainage does not appear to be a problem. So going in and making some water bars, it appears the road has been cut in there with some thought to drainage. Okay. Short story.
Very good.
This is Commissioner Gertler. Thank you. I have no other questions.
And I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Mark.
Mark?
Mark Lobaugh, Epic Wireless.
Mark, thank you. Is it already in your plans, or are you willing to commit to leaving that road in as good as or better shape than it currently is?
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Any disturbance?
Tumwa has been utilizing this facility, this road, for access to a large water tank, and ostensibly they bring in large equipment. This thing's been engineered to accommodate that type of equipment, and they're aware of the fact that we're working with you folks on this easement. We'll work closely with them to design road improvements as needed to accommodate construction crews. Once the tower's built, it simply accommodates on the AT&T's side, a pickup truck to get a tech up there. But we'll be working closely with Tumwa to construct this or improve the road as needed. And those types of issues typically get hashed out in the building permit process. So when we do that, we design that. That'll all be addressed in the BP process.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Does that satisfy you? Okay, very good.
Commissioner Jones, one question?
Yes, please.
This is for staff. I assume that somebody is going to have an inspector on the project that's going to be looking after our best interests, whether it's Tumwa or Washoe County or somebody?
For the record, Famer Picard, Park Planner for Washoe County. When we get these plans for reviewing, Park staff is involved with any of the permitting and the special use permit review. So if there's any mitigation efforts that you're wanting for the road itself, we'll be seeing those plans come forward during the planning commission stage and also for BCC. So yes, we'll be having some kind of screening within our own staff to make sure whatever we're requiring here today is also being moved forward.
Thank you.
I do just want to add for the record too, for the reading of the approval as well as the APN for the Tumwa parcel needs to be corrected to APN 144-01023. So that would be the correct APN for the Tumwa parcel.
But the other parcel is correct, the 144-010-22?
Correct.
The open space parcel? Okay, thank you. Let's see, and we do have a motion.
Just a point of order, we do need to call for public comment.
Well, we don't have a
before
second. We don't have a second yet. Did we have a second? I don't think we have a
Don't we
second.
typically do public comment after the presentations and then make the motion?
Okay.
So before the motion, we need to call for public comment. I do not have any in Chambers. I do not have any in Chambers nor on Zoom.
Okay, so there's no public comment. We do have a motion that's been made. Do we have a second on it?
Second.
Second, I think we had multiple seconds. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read by Commissioner Dake with the corrected parcel numbers signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 9, Parks reports.
This is a PDF, so I'll shuffle through it for you.
Sure. Thank you. For the record, Colleen Wallace-Barnum, good afternoon. Just wanted to highlight July is Parks and Recreation Month, so this is when we are at our best. We have multiple programs that go on during the summer, many put on by our park ranger staff. Just to highlight some of them, we have programs on the porch, evenings on the ranch. Programs on the porch are out at Bowers Mansion Park. They've concluded already at the end of June. Bartley Ranch hosts evenings on the ranch. That's through the month of July and then into August. Art Town is in full swing. Sometimes you could have 3 to 4 shows in a week at the Hawkins Amphitheater. And if you haven't been out there to see a show, I would highly recommend it. And then at Galena Creek, we have the campfire programs on Friday nights, which are super fun, and kids get to roast marshmallows and listen to a variety of interpretive programs. All of our aquatics facilities are open: Bowers Pool, North Valley Splash Park, and the Melio Gaspari Splash Park. And all are very dynamic, so those keep us very busy during the summer months. In the North region, we have the Lazy 5 Summer Concert Series. Those are every Wednesday night. And if you haven't been out there, that's also a great place to relax under the shade trees and listen to some music. In addition, Dragon Lights Reno, hopefully you've all been able to go out there, but that has been at Rancho San Rafael Park every evening and will continue through August 13th. And the show this year is called Nature's Glow. A portion of those proceeds go to benefit the Arboretum. So if you hear people say, the tickets are too expensive, you can let them know that a portion of the proceeds we actually benefit from. Then I just wanted to highlight, we added a senior meal program at the Martin Luther King Jr. Park at the Westbrook Community Center, and that started on July 17th. So there'll be senior meal services out there on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. So that's the third site that's in parks. We have one out in Cold Springs. We have one at Lazy 5 Regional Park at the Community Center, and now we have one at Westbrook. So we're offering those services through parks and through senior services. Wanted to highlight that we hired at the Arboretum a full-time educator. That position is being supported by society, and her name is Hannah Hill, and she's already begun some of the programs that are for the littlest visitors to the Arboretum. It's called Little Sprouts is the name of the program, and there's been some story times as well in the gardens. And these can happen during the day when Dragon Lights Reno is happening because the park is open free. So if anybody wants to go see that Dragon Light show but maybe can't afford those tickets, all day long the Arboretum's open and it's free, and it's still a really dynamic event even during the daytime. I also wanted to highlight some planning activities are going on. One of the things that we try to do through the Integrated Vegetation Management Plan is manage our open space and weeds in a variety of ways. So currently we have high desert grazers on contract to do goat grazing for weed removal, and we have that at Hunter Creek Open Space Area, Carcione Open Space Area, as well as the Swan Lake Nature Study Area. And then I wanted to also highlight that we have applied for a Nevada Outdoor Recreation Infrastructure Grant for roughly just under $75,000 for the Red Hill Open Space or Trail Project, and that's going to be in the Sun Valley area. So hopefully I'll be able to provide you an update on that at our next meeting. I'm not sure when we find out about
That it actually came out this morning.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Joel may have more of an update than me. But we're hopeful on that one, and if not, we'll continue trying. And I think that's all I really wanted to share. Does anybody have any questions on the park reports? I figured we didn't have as many items on the agenda, so I'd share some information with you. No questions? Okay, thank you.
I just, for the record, Commissioner Neil Jones needed to leave early, so he has left at 2:30.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Colleen. Item number 10, Director's Report.
Good afternoon again. For the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager and Director of the Community Services Department. Just a few updates, actions taken by the Board of County Commissioners. At the end of June, the board approved the easement between Washoe County and the City of Reno. And you'll remember this is the one for along Plumas and Urban. So that we've got a sidewalk along that section. This will be on the west side of Plumas in front of the golf course and the tennis area there. The board also recommended approved the easement deed with the United States Geological Survey. This was up on Whites Creek for the water monitoring gauge. In July, as I mentioned earlier, the board made some appointments to this commission. So again, welcome to the new commissioners and our reappointed Mr. Dake. And then also July 18th, we accepted the donation from the Wilbur May Foundation. This is $200,000 restricted for general operating support of the Wilbur D. May Center, and then $100,000 restricted support for the temporary exhibits at the May Center. So the Wilbur May Foundation is a great partner with Washoe County. They do support some of the majority of the programming and things up there. Washoe County has some staff support up there. So really appreciate all that the May Foundation does for Washoe County. Additionally, I wanted to highlight that the board allocated $2 million from the American Rescue Plan Act funds to the Parks Division for improvements at the South Valleys Regional Park. So this is implementation of parts of the master plan. So we are working currently with some of the ball fields down there, or the ball groups down there, who have essentially matched that $2 million with in-kind services for design and some other things associated with that. So more to come on that, but I think that was really great impact for our parks, specifically down in South Valleys. I do want to make sure that the commission knows, specifically in that South Valleys area, the majority of the construction that has occurred in that area has been within the City of Reno. And so the park construction tax actually goes to the City of Reno. There's some specifics around that use, but I'm sure we will be talking with them about how to partner with them on improvements at that park, because again, it is a regional park and it is used by a lot of Washoe County. But our plan is really to get the flat fields, ball fields, and some more soccer fields down there, get that portion of the master plan taken care of. There's a large need for that. So with that, I'm available for any questions, but that is the director's report today.
Could I ask you a question on the, so after the ball fields, like where does the pool fall in the timeline?
So there is a location set in there for indoor recreation, and that's the area that was noticed by the citizen here today. That's really going to be dependent on funding and really what is that indoor. So we had identified indoor recreation, and as an example would be a pool, or we already have an ice skating rink. There are some other indoor things, community center. So that's, it's not necessarily a dedicated spot for a pool. It is a dedicated spot, at least for indoor recreation. That was based on the master plan update that we did.
Thank you.
I was at the county, Mark Newman for the record, I was at the county commission. Sun Valley Bike Park got $500,000 too.
That is correct. Yep.
That's my district.
I did forget about that one, so thank you for reminding me. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any commissioner requests for future agenda items or announcements or topics, issues proposed for future agendas? No discussion may occur on these suggestions.
This is Commissioner Rhodey. I wonder if we could find out more about how these easement fees are calculated, and for the future, whether or not we think they're enough.
That is noted and recorded.
Thank you.
Anything else? Item number 12, are there any other public comments?
I have no public comment in chambers and no hands raised on Zoom.
All right, thank you, Brandon. So item number 13 is adjournment. So thank you all for attending. Meeting is adjourned.